Hi, my name is Janelle Fox. I'm a student at KU, and I am a student worker, on the Digital World War I Poetry Archive. We're working under Dr. Lori Vancina, and we are finding, encoding, transcribing, annotating poems written by American immigrants during the time of World War I that will be uploaded to a website. I think it's important because, A of all, it's been 100 years, and so if there's any time to look back, now would be the time, big anniversary. But also because the poems and the publications we've been using really reveal what life was like for World War I citizens as opposed to soldiers or nurses or leaders, which is really important because wars aren't just battles and things fought by people. They're actually experienced back home by, in our case, German-American immigrants, by British immigrants, by Mexican-American immigrants.
Well, these are sort of timeless questions. Even the immigrant question today reflects some of the issues that we see in this poetry. The Germans who lived in America, they wrote about being German immigrants here in America. Some of them were pro-German, some of them were pro-US. So there's this dichotomy between immigrants in America, their heritage overseas, and their identity as Americans. It comes into conflict. So it's important to document these things.
I would say one of the most prevalent themes that we've found is anti-British sentiment. My favorite poem is called English Kultur. Germans were perceived as barbaric, crude, violent, and this poem kind of reverses that ideation and focuses on the hypocrisy of the English and how they engaged in very similar conduct.
My favorite poem is called The Munition Maker's Daughter, and it's actually kind of a derogatory poem about this woman who's very beautiful and very lively and everything, but she's kind of bejeweled and decked out because her father is a munitions maker, and so it's talking about how she's kind of cloaked in blood and agony and battle shells and this kind of thing, which I thought was a really interesting way to look at not just the combatants, but the people who are actually supplying the war, as well as women and their, how they were perceived at the time or how they were used to talk about the war.
If we're talking about a novel, that's something that a reader really has to invest himself in to digest. But when we're talking about poetry, it can be 2 stanzas of 4 lines each in a newsletter that they get every week, and that's something that is much more accessible. It's these short little poignant poems that really can get the point across effectively.